I'm here to talk about what it means to be a Christian. And um, basically, what I realized going, just talking about this is, when we talk about being a Christian, how similar it is to how we deal with our own families and how we represent the Christian family is very, very similar to how we represent our own families. Why do we need to figure out what being a Christian is all about? We derive our identity from Jesus. We derive our identity from Him. He saved us. He gave us salvation. And being Christians, we literally carry His name with us. And therefore, it's our responsibility to learn what it's all about. It's no different from, say, let's say you know somebody, a guy, and then later on, you're walking around doing your business, and then you meet somebody, a guy, and he introduces himself as your friend's son. All of a sudden, your mind goes into kind of a comparison mode. Like, you don't even realize it, but because you know somebody new, you associate that person with what's familiar, your friend who's his father. And that's just the way we are as humans. This is why, you notice a lot of people when they talk, when they meet somebody, and they meet somebody's brother, when they meet somebody, a friend's brother, or a friend's son, or a friend's daughter, without thinking, they automatically go into, oh, you look so much alike. Oh, you have his eyes. Sometimes they don't even have to be similar. They just have to be, you look so different. And if that is the way people treat your relation to somebody, how much more is it for your relationship with God? If you say, I'm a Christian, people are going to start comparing you with what is known. And people know who Christ is. The concepts may be varied, may be different across different areas of the world, but the basic, the fact of the matter is, his book is the best-selling book of all time, the Bible. People know who he is. And stereotypes of Christians, of religions, exist for a reason, because these behaviors have been proven over time. And that's why it's our responsibility as God's children, as the brothers and sisters of Christ, to represent that family in the best way possible. Because we're going to be associated with him, and therefore we have to represent him in the best way that we can. And the thing about what a Christian is it can be, from what I read and from what I researched, is that it's really hard to put a finger on what it is. You can't really explain it. So I'll try, kind of like a process of elimination, first of all, of what it's not, to explain what it is. And eventually, hopefully, we get into a better understanding of what it is. So the first thing is usually when you tell people, I'm a Christian, therefore people assume, well, you go to church, right? I'm a Christian, therefore I go to church. I'm a Christian, therefore, what do I do? What do I pray? Be our Father, creeds. I'm a Christian, therefore what do I read? The Bible. So therefore, if I read the Bible, I say my prayers, I go to church, then I'm a Christian. It's part of it, but it's not the entire thing. Because basically what happens is when you do that, when you define being a Christian as such, you define it as kind of like a system. You do things because they told you to do these things, because your religion tells you to do these things. And it's not the way it's supposed to be. Basically, my personal feeling is when you do things, when you go to church, when you sing the songs, when you say the prayers, you do them not because your religion tells you to do so, but because you have no other way to express yourself than to do that. You cannot find the words to express your faith. Therefore, you rely on the tried and true words that have been passed down to us for the longest time by people who share the same faith as us. Basically, if you reduce it to just that, going to church and all that, you don't live your own faith. My point basically is you don't learn your faith, you don't hear your faith, you don't speak it, you don't talk about it, you live it and you feel it. And if you reduce it to just that, and to just going to church and all that, the outward behaviors, then you can lose your perspective of that. But keep that in mind though, because we are going to go back into this later. The second one, I'm a Christian, so I should do the right thing at all times. I live my life as a Christian, therefore I need a guide. And what is that guide for us, usually? The Bible, the Ten Commandments, for instance. It tells us, thou shalt not kill. Okay, so I don't kill, I'm okay. I don't steal, I'm okay. I do not covet my neighbor's wife or husband, I'm good. I'm all set. I love God above and beyond everything else. Well, sure. I love my neighbor as myself. Great. But the thing about that is that if you notice, if you substitute neighbor with, say, the word country, or you make each one refer to a country, say, thou shalt not covet thy country's resources, thou shalt not kill the citizens of thine country, or whatever. You can easily reduce it as well to a system of rules and laws, into a legal sense that can be debated on by lawyers in a courtroom. And it just becomes a series of rights and wrongs, ones and zeros, blacks and whites, that has been distilled down to a level that is way below what it's supposed to be. Because in that sense, we lose the meaning of the religion, of our relationship to God, because we're just doing it as right and wrong. Why is this not Christian? Why is this not being a Christian? Because the rules said so. Why is this being Christian? Oh, because the rules told me to do it, so I'm doing it. But we lose sight of what we're actually doing. Why are we not as Christians when we kill? Not because we didn't follow the rules, but because what have we been doing with our role as stewards of creation? How have we respected the blessings that have been bestowed upon us by God if we kill? If we steal, how are we respecting the other person's efforts? The other person's efforts that are products of the talents that have been bestowed upon him by God. And so we lose all track of that if we just make it a series of right and wrong.